Greetings, dear viewers and guests. Today we continue our international discussions after the online forum that took place on the May 7th, Global Crisis, Where People We Want to Live. This was an unprecedented event. Many crucial topics were discussed, and not from the usual point of view that we are used to here nowadays. Also today, we will ask our guests several questions and try to bring you more insights from the forum and also about what is happening around the globe and what is our utmost task these days. Not only to withstand these challenges and survive, but to evolve to a different level of human civilization. We will ask our guests what understanding our viewers could have received when watching the forum. My co-host today will be Tylee from United States. Tylee?
Thank you so much, Robert. It's been a great honor to participate in Everything with the Creative Society, and my honor to have our honorable guests today with us. It's Gina Telford from Michigan, and she's a former military flight attendant, and she's going to share her opinion about the Creative Society Forum and how she came across it. And we also have our dear guest all the way from Chile, Marcelo Mondaca. He's a Navy mechanical engineer. Marcelo, it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Muchas gracias.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say a couple of words and maybe start with Gina about the forum itself and how you came across it?
Hello, thank you. Actually, I got a message from someone on TikTok to watch this, and I just happened to be home that day. And when I turned it on, I watched the entire 11 hours. It was like, wow, these people are speaking my language, something I've always wanted to see. I was just blown away. I was on the phone trying to contact everyone that I know. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Peculiarly, just the night before this program even came on, as a writer, I wrote a little small poem that was dealing with the issues of this global world. We need something more. We need a better order, because what's happening right now, it's like the lunatics are running the asylum in every way, and it's literally killing us. And we need something more going on. We need to unite. The only way you're going to have some type of harmony in this world is getting together. And I mean, they were talking about the issues like, when was the last time you knocked on your neighbor's door? And I'm thinking, okay, I knock on my neighbor's door. I watch what's going on around me. The global society needed to unite. And so coming across Creative Society was like, bam, wow. This is what we need. And I'm one of those that's calling everyone that I know and asking them, what issue do you have with harmony and peace globally with everyone? And when I came across Creative Society, like I said, I'm just one person looking to help make a difference. I have a plaque that says, one day I will change the world. I bought the plaque at a thrift store not knowing how significant it was going to be, because I've come across Creative Society. And like I said, I'm one of those that's trying to get the word out to as many people as I know. And it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Gina. And amazing words. It's such a pleasure to hear that the message that Creative Society sends out there, all the volunteers do, really resonates with the people, because it's coming from people and it's being done for the people. And thank you so much for being with us. Now, Marcelo, we would also love to hear your impressions about the conference, about the forum, international forum, and your thoughts.
Bueno, quizás el primer
Okay,
pensamiento que tengo
so
después de haber
perhaps
visto
the
el foro
first thought I
es que
have after watching the forum is
el enemigo de
that
tu enemigo
the enemy or
es tu amigo.
your enemy of your
Creo que
enemy
eso es
is your
muy
friend.
importante
And I think it is very
verlo en
important
esta
to see
situación.
in this
Estamos en
situation,
un
to
mundo
look
que
into
está
it.
sumamente
We live in a
fragmentado,
world that
está
is
dividido
highly
en
fragmented,
diversas
divided into
países,
different countries,
facciones
political
políticas,
parties,
puntos
points
de
of
vista
view,
de esto u otro, incluso
things so
hasta que
that even things
lo
that
que nos entretiene, como
entertain
el
us,
deporte,
like
nos crea otra
sports,
división más.
create yet another division.
Entonces,
So
que vi en el foro,
what I saw in the forum, and I found it really impressive and sometimes even a little difficult to grasp,
es que el clima
is that climate
es nuestro real
is
enemigo
our real enemy
actualmente.
at the moment.
Y es como una
And
paradoja,
it's a
porque el
paradox,
mismo clima que
because
hoy
the
día nos
same
permite
climate
vivir,
that allows
nos
us
permite comer
to
y
live
alimentarnos,
today,
se
allows
está
us to
convirtiendo en
eat,
nuestro
to
enemigo.
feed ourselves, becomes our
Creo
enemy.
que es un deber de
I
todas las
think
personas
it is the duty of
empezar
every
a
sane person on the planet
conocer a ese enemigo,
to know this enemy,
entender cómo funciona,
to understand
cómo
how it
opera,
works, how
por
it
qué hace lo
acts,
que hace.
what and why happens.
Creo que eso me mostró que
And it showed me that
es
it is
posible,
possible, not even possible,
más que posible, es necesario que todos
but
nosotros
even
nos unamos
necessary for all of us
para poder
to come
ver
together
cómo
to
enfrentar esta
understand
amenaza,
how to deal with
pero
this threat.
conocerlo bien.
But
Vale
we
decir,
have to know it well. I mean,
entender
we have
cuál
to
es el modelo, cuál
understand
es
the
la forma
pattern,
en que este enemigo
the way
está
in which
haciendo lo
this
que está
enemy
haciendo.
does what it does.
Bueno, claramente,
Okay,
todo el tema
so
climático
obviously
seguro
the
va a ser muy
climate problem
fuerte,
is going to be
pero no
very
va a ser para
significant,
siempre.
but it's not,
Podría ser
forever.
solamente, es lo que yo, es
I
lo que me
prefer to
gusta
believe
creer,
that
que va a ser
it will only
solamente
be a
una
certain
etapa,
phase, but
pero esa
this
etapa
phase
podría ser desastrosa.
could be catastrophic.
Tengo experiencia de haber
I have
servido
experience when I
en
served
2 ocasiones
in
en desastres
climate
climáticos.
disaster zones
Podría
mitigation
hablar de eso más
twice.
adelante,
I can
pero
talk about it later,
lo que las
but
Fuerzas Armadas,
what takes the
los
military
ejércitos les toma
weeks
semanas,
or months, the
meses hacer,
climate does in an hour. So we
ya
have to
lo
be
hace
very
en
mindful.
una hora. Y eso es
We have
para
to be
que
very mindful
tengamos en
of
cuenta
the
la
scale
magnitud
of the
del
problem we
problema que
have
tenemos
to
que
deal
enfrentar.
with.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marcelo. I absolutely agree with you. We, the people of the world, 99.9% of us are on the same page. We don't have enemies. We don't want wars. We don't have to fight. But it is this self-destructive consumerist format of living where we are being artificially divided and clashed against each other. And this is being done artificially. All this wars for the resources. Yeah, in today's world, people are forced to fight for almost everything: the land, the food, attention, better jobs, salaries, resources. But there is one resource that is absolutely crucial, and we don't pay enough attention to how much important it is. It is the water, and it's diminishing very fast around the world. And that's going to be a huge next crisis if we're not going to take action now. So please, let us watch this video about the water, and then I'm going to ask you to comment on it too. Thank you.
The world is already divided into those who are desperately short of water and those who still have it. According to UN data, humanity needs to wake up to the looming water crisis. And this is despite the fact that nowadays we know how to extract water even from the air and even in the most arid region. Water from fog. In one of the world's largest capitals, Lima, located in the desert, fog is collected in huge nets and used to produce drinking water. Morocco has one of the largest plants, which produces up to 6,000 liters of drinking water a day from the fog. Its operation costs practically nothing and does not require external energy. Water from the air. Atmospheric water generators allow you to extract up to 3,000 liters of drinking water per day, and it can be increased up to 1 million liters. Can be mobile and stationary. They can operate from any energy source and in any climate. even in the arid desert, are used for the needs of the military in some countries and well proven in emergency situations. For example, in 2010, after the Haiti earthquake, the generator produced thousands of gallons of clean water for drinking, wound washing, and surgery. Do you agree to die of thirst in the presence of such modern technology? Water desalination units. Worldwide, about 16,000 desalination plants purify ocean water from salt and turn it into fresh water. They can produce millions of gallons of fresh water a day and supply 300 million people. Innovative developments already allow desalination plants to be environmentally friendly, work even on the energy of ocean waves, and not to harm the ocean. In the water, they can retain the minerals needed for irrigation of fields and extract minerals from the remaining brine. This is ultimate cynicism and cruelty. When millions of people die of thirst in countries located on the ocean coasts, while such technologies are available. And this is the essence of the consumerist format of the society in which we live. Water retreatment. The technology has passed many tests. The water is safe even for drinking, and its quality exceeds World Health Organization standards. Meanwhile, every 2 minutes, one child dies from a disease related to contaminated water. 2 billion people in the world use drinking water sources that are contaminated with feces. By 2025, half of the world's population will live in areas with water scarcity. In just 3 years, it will be every second person. Actually, we don't have even these 3 years. Due to climate change, the situation on the planet is changing rapidly every day. And trouble comes where no one was expecting it. So, what will you personally choose? To die of thirst? Or to drink fecal water? That's the choice which you have in a consumer society. Nowadays, humanity has all the necessary technologies to provide water to drink for everyone. But in the consumerist format, trillions are spent to kill people, and saving our lives is way too expensive. By our inaction, we support this cruel, dead-end, and absurd format of the consumer society. The format in which these problems will never be solved, because our survival for the consumer society means earnings. Nowadays, profit is more important than our lives, and our deaths are just dry figures. The only way out is to change the format. The most important thing you can do now to save your life, the lives of your loved ones, and all people on the planet, is to join in informing about the creative society, because only by changing the format of society will we be able to prioritize the value of human life. We will introduce advanced technology everywhere and guarantee the protection of every person's life. Act now. Inform about the creative society.
Yes. As we were able to see in the video, we have technologies that for many people would seem science fictions, but they are reality. Why are we not using them? And also, why are the mass media not informing about these technologies, that we have such technologies that could be used? Because probably it's not convenient to someone. And also, not only technologies about water and other technologies and whatever, anything else that is actually available for people has been presented at the forum that took place on May 7th. And I would like to ask our guests, which part was something that they would recommend their friends to watch? Because I understand that for each person, some part of the conference was more kind of touching. So, Gina, could you please tell us which part of the conference was that for you?
One of the things I've gotten people, I ask them to look at is the timestamps. I direct them to, I ask them first to look at what Robert Kennedy said, because I'm trying to get them to catch into it. When he put it out, what does a person need with a 400,000 foot house? The money is being wasted that this 1% is holding on to, while, the rest of us suffer and go without. And if that doesn't get them, I get them to go look at Mark Morano when he talked about the climate change and the truth that's going on with that. And if that doesn't get them, I ask them to look at with I check Calderon Ades, what he speaks about, that, we need to unite. We need to get together. We can't, this organization doing this for this person, this one doing for whatever. We need to get it all together. And it's just like, a 3-year-old could understand this. So why wouldn't you want to talk about healing the world peace, without saying you have to unite? That's the only way it's going to happen. And for what our governments are doing right now, they are killing us. Nothing is to be trusted by them anymore, especially the media. Oh my goodness. I'm thankful for whoever on TikTok enlightened me to even watch the program. I'm very thankful. But I try and get people to at least look at the timestamps that I tell them about these particular presenters, to try and wake them up. And that's what I'm doing on my part.
Thank you so much. And Marcelo, maybe you could share with us what do you think is the reason why the media is not actually bringing up these topics? And I always find it's very interesting that we have all the media agenda very synchronized. And, there is a topic that simultaneously pops up across all newspapers, all TV channels, and then all of a sudden it disappears just exactly the same way, simultaneously all over the place. And it seems like I would be curious to find out what happened to the news that I heard a few months ago about certain things that happened here and there. There was a tornado in Kentucky. How do they live now? We have no idea because nobody is covering it. Nobody says, except when it's something sensational, then it's gone and that's it. And for example, the problem of water, it's not even brought up in the news right now. And it's such a crucial thing for us. It's going to really affect everyone. And we have no idea that these technologies exist that could provide fresh water to everyone in the world. If only we, the people, knew, we would create a demand. We would say, let's use whatever resources we have to provide fresh water for everyone and secure the people, secure everyone, because we don't know who's going to be migrating from the region that's going to be affected by the climate change, by the extreme climatic events tomorrow. but we are not being, as Gina very good said, we don't know about those things. We only see what's been brought up in the media. And unfortunately, most of the people, because working too hard, don't even have time to research themselves. That's why it's so crucial to share the information that was brought up at the conference, at the Creative Society Global Crisis Forum, because this is what people have to demand if we want to survive and build a prospering society. What do you think, Marcelo?
Bueno, lo que pienso
So I think
es que los medios de comunicación actualmente
the media, what they do nowadays,
están haciendo y también tomando lo que
and
dice
also
Gina,
taking into account what Gina has said,
informar cosas que
they report
realmente
things
son
which don't really matter.
son cosas que no son cosas inútiles.
These are useless
Por
things.
ejemplo,
For example,
hoy día en las redes
there's a
sociales está pasando
discussion
algo
on
respecto a un
social
juicio entre
media
dos
today
actores.
about a judicial
Todo el
process
mundo
between
sabe
two actors.
exactamente lo que pasa,
Everyone in the world
cuántos
knows
días faltan
exactly
para
what's
que
going on,
termine y
how
bla,
many
bla,
days until it's over, and so on, blah, blah, blah.
nadie
But
sabe,
no
nadie
one
entiende, nadie tiene ni la
knows
más
or no one
mínima
understands,
información
no one
respecto a lo que
has the
está
slightest bit of
sucediendo
information about
ahora
what
en
is going on right now in
por los
Central
desastres
America
naturales.
due to natural
Nadie
disasters.
sabe lo que está pasando
Nobody
en Europa
knows
con la actividad
what's going on in Europe as a
mucha
result of
gente no lo
volcanic
sabe.
activity.
Entonces, como no lo sabe,
People just don't know. And since they
entonces,
don't know,
a ver,
then,
no sé cómo decirlo de una mejor
it
forma,
doesn't
pero
exist.
pareciera ser
I don't know how to express it better, but
justamente lo que se necesita
it seems like
o lo que se
someone is
busca
trying
con
to
eso
make
es
sure
que la
that
gente no
people
sepa en
don't
qué
know what
problema
kind
se
of
están
trouble
metiendo.
they're about to get into.
Pareciera ser que lo que se busca
They
es que
seem
las
to want
personas
people
no
not to
entiendan
know
lo que está
what's
pasando.
going on.
Entonces, cuando a
So
veces
when
uno
I
habla estos temas
tell
con
sometimes
gente
people
cercana,
that are close to me
no los
about
creen, simplemente no
what's
los
going
creen,
on,
no
they
lo
don't
aceptan,
believe it. They
piensan
just
que
don't believe it, and
es
they
una
don't
historia
accept it
porque los medios de comunicación no lo dicen.
because they think
Entonces,
it's
cuando
a
tú ves a
fiction
la
because the
gente
media
que
doesn't
tiene
talk
entre
about
40
it.
y 50 años,
So
esa
when
gente
you look at
creció
people
con
who
una
are
televisión,
40 to
creció con
50
unos
years
medios de
old,
comunicación que
these people
informaban,
grew up on
¿me
television.
entiendes?
They
O sea,
grew up on the
gente,
media that
digamos,
gave
entre
them
40
the
años hacia
information,
arriba,
In other
crecieron
words,
en un
people, let's
ambiente
say 40 and
donde la
above, grew up in an
televisión sí
environment
decía la verdad.
where there was
Habían
truth on television,
controversias,
there was
habían problemas,
controversy,
pero
problems were
la prensa lo
discussed,
informaba. Entonces, esas
and
personas,
the press
dentro
reported
de
it.
su ética,
So
dentro
these
de su
people,
moral
within
y
their
sus
ethics,
costumbres,
morals, and
esperan
customs,
que la
are
prensa diga algo al
waiting
respecto
for the
para
press to
comenzar a
report
creer.
it.
Y esas
Then they will
son las
believe it.
personas que hoy
And
día mueven
these
el
are the
planeta,
people
que mueven
who
las
run the
sociedades de
planet
consumo.
today, who run the consumer
Bien, es
society.
verdad, en algunos lugares del
Okay,
planeta, como
so
en
it's
Silicon
true that
Valley,
in some places on
encontramos
the
gente
planet,
muy
like
joven que tiene
Silicon
mucha
Valley,
influencia.
there are a lot
Pero
of
la
young
gente que
people who have a
trabaja para
lot
que
of
las cosas
influence, but
pasen en este
the people who
planeta
have a
son
direct
desde los
stake at what's
35
going on
años
the
hacia arriba.
planet are mostly
Son los que
35
hacen todo
years old and
el
above.
trabajo de oficina, el
They are
trabajo
the ones
de
who do
administrativo,
all
el
the
trabajo de
office,
información y de
administrative,
asesoría
informational,
que
and
están ahí.
advisory work.
Entonces, como esas personas
Because
no
these
han
people
recibido la
didn't
información de
get
la forma que ellos
this
esperan,
information they
simplemente
should have
pareciera
got.
ser
It
todo esto que
seems to
estamos
them that
diciendo
all
no
the
está
things we
pasando.
are talking about aren't happening.
Entonces, ¿qué pudiera decir yo respecto a por
What
qué
is
la
there to
gente no
say
está
about
mostrando
why
esto? Es
people
porque
behave the way they
simplemente
do?
nuestro sistema de
It is
consumo ha ido
simply because
tan
our consumer
profundo, ha sido
system
tanta
has
la
gone so
pérdida de la
deeply
moral
that
de nuestra sociedad
there
de
has been
consumo,
so much loss of
que
morality in our
lamentablemente
consumer society that
todos los que están viendo este
unfortunately
programa
everyone
hacen que
watching
esta
this
sociedad de consumo
broadcast
sea lo que es.
brings this
Me
consumer
incluyo también,
society to be
lamentablemente.
what it is, including me, unfortunately.
Hemos permitido que estas cosas
We
pasen.
have allowed these things to happen.
Esa creo que pudiera ser un problema.
I
Nosotros como
think this
sociedad
could become a problem.
hemos
We as a
normalizado
society has allowed it and
aceptado
made it
que
the
estas cosas
norm.
sucedan.
We have allowed these
Como
things to
sociedad
happen.
global lo hemos puesto
As a
muy
global
flojos al
society,
aprendizaje.
we have become very careless about
Nos hemos
learning.
puesto
it has become very easy to get information. It is very difficult for us as society to go deeper, to go to the root of the information and understand what is actually going on. So sometimes we hear things that don't make sense, but some people say, scientists say this and that. What scientists? Because when you try to find them and you don't find them, you look for them, you look through documents, papers, books that they say this like, but they're not there. There are just no such words. And I still don't see a model that proves why carbon dioxide should cause the current climate change. I can't find that evidence. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. I never seem to find it. So I think that all the media, all the mechanisms that have been created, I guess, for the sole purpose of keeping people unfocused as possible. Sometimes I just think that this ship is sinking with all the lifeboats in the hold, that the ship has run aground and all the lifeboats are tied up and unsealed. It reminds me of the Titanic, which sank with unused lifeboats. Okay. Thousands of people died and no one could occupy the lifeboat, could use it. There are the kinds of things, I guess, that happen to us as society. And I think people who work in the media need to change the way of thinking and think carefully about what they're doing. Because really, they don't realize the extent of the damage they're doing. Because when you realize the damage you're doing and you feel, so shall we say internally, that you're doing something wrong, you have to stop. You have to be brave and say, I'm not going to participate in it anymore. I have to change. I have to be good. Because the title of the forum says, this is the global crisis. This global crisis affects us in many ways. And it shouldn't be that we're more into fashion, more into what's going on with celebrities and that they're doing on the planet, with our planet. I'm speaking to you as a father who is trying to all day to do something to make the world a better place. And I think we should do all that because this world is coming to an end for adults like me. But we need to think about how to live a better world for our youth, for our children, for those who will inherit this planet.
Well, I agree with you on exactly on the fact that this creative society is the only way out from this consumer format, because in the consumer format, people or media or whoever only do what brings profit and what's profitable for them. And I remember the saying of one CEO from one international corporation when he said, I just return briefly to water, when he said that water should be a commodity and should not be available free of charge for people. Can you imagine that? How can this reflects exactly? We're not gonna say which company it was. Whoever wants can find it on the internet because it's available there. But can you imagine this approach? And this approach goes all the way through today's consumer format. So the only way is to change the format. And who can do it? Only people. So, and how we can do it, we have to first know about it. So that's the most important part of this, is to inform everybody that there is a solution, there is a way out from this dead end. And so just to inform people about it and let them then decide. So when they have the information, they can decide on their own. Gina, I know that you were saying in the pre-meeting when we were talking that from what you were working, you find an information somewhere where you were, and when you come back home, you were looking for it and it wasn't there. So media is not doing that information. So it's up to us people. Don't you agree to tell everybody about it?
Yes. I'm constantly on my phone. Like I said, the day that I watched it on May 7th, I started texting everybody. I started emailing people. You need to take a look at this. I feel like it's very absolute urgency that we get the word out to as many people as possible to start looking at the facts. Make up your mind and see, open your eyes and see. We're telling everybody to wake up. It's time to wake up. We're past due because this destruction is going on. And if we don't wake up, we're drowning. I'm as part empath, and I've been sensing for about the last 8 months something sickening. It turns my stomach literally. I sense that something is happening, and how can we stop this? Because it's consuming a lot of our lives, our children's lives. I hate to think that, all these so-called Hollywood movies were sending these messages, whereas you said, water is a commodity. Back in our day, we thought it was a joke when they said, we're going to put water in a bottle and sell it. It's like, right. And look at us now. So there is a quite urgency about it. And in my little world, I'm trying to get everyone that I know to listen to something, listen to some part of the Creative Society's message where it affects them, because they're going to be listening to more. We need the knowledge and get this out. I can't stress it enough how many people really need to look at this. A 3-year-old can figure this out. I was impressed with all the solutions that Creative Society has offered. And I mean, we need the people who make these machines to start giving them out. Just give them out. Those that can make these houses out of 3D machines, get them out. Forget about the money. You got as much as you can get. You need to really make a difference. Sorry. I am really passionate about this, so I'll leave it for there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Gina. We don't mind these technical difficulties. It's all cool because we are live people. We're not, organized or paid by anyone. Nobody's working. There's nobody doing our makeup or fixing the lights, or we do it ourselves with whatever we have. We have a cell phone. I know you're connected with us through a cell phone. Like, isn't it amazing that these technologies do exist, allow us regular people to connect without a need to go gather in one place like these people do. They gather in Glasgow or Davos or somewhere and spend millions of our money, right? We spend our taxes on their fancy food, 5-star hotels, private jet flights around the world. And the forum showed it. If we look in where United Nations spending most of their budgets, it's on their fancy stays, fancy hotels, fancy lifestyle that they do. And no wonder we cannot solve the hunger problem or the water problem or any problem. What we saw is that their budgets are growing each year. And the problem is growing exponentially. And nobody's interested in solving the problem. Solving the problems means they're not needed anymore, because all they do is blah, blah, blah about solving problem. That's all they sell. That's not a solution. And what Creative Society showed, that solutions do exist. Like, that's the most amazing thing. We have all the technologies. As you said, that 3D printing houses, we can literally print those houses and it costs nothing. The technology is right there. It already exists. And take a look at this footage. You can see right now what already can be created. imagine if we would invest our money instead of paying for the 5-star hotels and fancy food and private jet flights for those people who are talking on those international forums in Davos and New York and everywhere they do it. Instead of that, we invest those money that, by the way, go into creating tremendous amounts of weapons against us to kill ourselves, kill people. There are major countries who invest major amount of money into solutions to kill us from different side of the ocean. It's still us. It's still the people. They are investing our money into killing ourselves. Instead of that, we don't even demand to spend that money on printing 3D houses, making that technology so amazing that it could, just imagine, with little bit of investment, it can literally solve the housing problem once and for all for everyone. And we don't do it. We don't even demand because we don't even know about it. As you said, on the media, they wouldn't show it. How would we know? You know what they show on the media? They showing that there is going to be a food supply problem. They say that the food will be not enough food by the end of year 2022. There will be lack of food in poor countries and third world countries. And even in the first world, we're going to see a huge price increase for the food. So it's not going to be available for everyone anymore. And it's ridiculous to realize that we have technologies to actually provide food for everyone. We have these multi-story farms already existing. We don't even have to find fields. We can literally grow food, as you can see on the footage right now, in the buildings. And it grows so much more efficient. And it's literally the solution to provide food for everyone. We don't even know about it, except for the forum. That was the first time I found out about it. And in the preparation. And when our volunteers started to look at, okay, how can the problem of food, how can it be solved? We coming across these solutions. We are shocked that this does exist. And yet nobody's investing into it. Nobody's talking on the governmental level. I don't see those things being built in every city to provide food for everyone, high quality food, and much cheaper food than what we have in the stores and what they say we're going to be lacking of by the end of this year, even. Yes, this incredible footage, it's already existing technologies. So what's amazing about these technologies that with little bit of investing, they make food production, housing production, water production so cheap that it can be available for everyone. It wouldn't cost much. And with the development of technology, it becomes so cheap. Like literally our civilization is one step away from solving all problems of supplies. But at the same time, we're one step away from self-destruction for good. And this balance, this choice that people have to make, we all have to make it based on knowledge, because without the knowledge, we cannot make a choice. And this is when it comes to amazing people like you, Gina, like you, Marcelo, like Robert, all of you sharing this information with everyone you know. And when this chain reaction starts, when people start just using word of mouth to let everyone know, I think that's when we can make a real big difference. I would really love to thank all of you for joining us. And Marcelo, please, I would like to hear your comments too, because I know you have something to say.
Sí. Me gustaría decir un
Yes,
comentario
right.
de algo que vi en la
I would like to
conferencia que
comment
fue
on what I saw at the
realmente
conference,
chocante.
which really shocked me.
Esto fue que
And I'm talking
en un momento
about
se comentó
the fact
que
which was
la
pointed
deuda
out
total del mundo,
that the total
la deuda
debt
total del mundo
of the world is
era algo
about
así
4
como
times
4
the
veces
world's gross
el
domestic
Producto
product.
Interno Bruto Mundial. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que tu deuda
What does it
sea
mean
4
that the
veces
debt
la
is
capacidad
4
de
times the
generar
earning
ganancias en
capacity
este
of the
mundo?
world?
Esto es que
It
literalmente
means
estamos
that
viviendo
we literally
en un mundo de
live
consumo
in a
donde el
consumerist
dinero
world
literalmente,
where
me atrevo a
money,
decir,
I dare say,
que
theoretically, money today has no value. It is worthless. It has worth only in theory. So we go through life, with credit cards, with money, buying, living, and some surviving without money that appears to be worth zero. It's more of a theoretical value. It's a mental value. We believe that money has value because somebody said so somewhere, and so on. Many people, when you tell them that the world's currencies are not based on gold, they just don't believe you and say, that can be, because I was told in school that currencies are backed up by gold, not by debt, not on economic structures that are hard to understand. But the fact is that today we live in a consumer society, and this society has created a debt that will never be repaid. Okay? Thus, it seems that this whole consumer society, which was created many years ago, so that every person on this planet could have a knife to cook with, have access to a kitchen, have clothing, have the objects for a good life, and this led us to such a terrible situation that it is hard to believe that today a lawyer cannot buy his own house. Just, a teacher, just to understand the value scale of economic profits, a teacher could buy a house in 1960s, for example. Perhaps Gina knows more about this than I do, but for example, in the 1960s, a carpenter in the United States could buy himself a house. He could have a family of 3 children, a car, and live a quiet life while his wife did the housework. So, while his wife made sure that the children were taught values, good manners, and morals, and were good people. But today, in the same city, we see a family of a lawyer or an engineer unable, or they are very able to pay the monthly loan to pay for their house they may have never built. So life is about earning resources to cover all the credit, card debt, and use those credit cards to defer payments. So we live in a world where debt is everything. Now, I would like to raise a question, perhaps somewhat controversial, but if we look at countries that are leaders in global manufacturing, countries that are economic leaders in terms of manufacturing capacity, I ask myself the following question. Would these countries be leaders if they had the same norms of life, the same rules of work that exist in Canada today, for example? I don't know if they would still have the same economic leadership if they had the rules that are in place in the developed world in terms of labor laws. I ask the question because all people think, or most people think, that economic success in the world is due to the amount of labor. But it is not so. It's not like that. The forum shows that there is something terrible behind the economy. It shows a picture that we don't realize that it exists. It is hard to believe that today, in the world, there are economic slaves. It is paradoxical. It is so terrible because there are already technology that, imagine, can build a house in 48 hours. It already exists today, and we saw it at the forum. It was shown at the forum with all the details. We can build a luxurious house, a beautiful house in 48 hours. Can you imagine that? I can imagine a family who is told on Monday we'll start building your house and on Wednesday it will be ready for you. And that person starts setting up their house on Wednesday, living in the house on Wednesday because besides, would a house be built, in 48 hours be so expensive? Obviously not, because the working hours will be shorter. So we live in a world which unfortunately has crossed all boundaries of morality, and it is an animal world that needs, to constantly chew, produce tons of useless plastics, low-quality products paid for at a very high price.
Zapatillas de plástico a $500. Que en 2 años, el otro
I
año,
find it hard to believe that there are plastic sneakers in the market that cost $500. 500 plastic sneakers that in a year or 6 months will no longer be fashionable and need to be replaced. We've got to the point where I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I remember my father and my mother trying to buy me sneakers of a very good quality, of very good materials, so they would last. I didn't live in a fashion era, no, I lived in a time when children were bought good quality things to last, that would endure, but not today. Today we live in an era where quality doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. After another 3 months, you throw the junk away and, buy a new one. And this is only the way the monster called the consumer society can survive. Then I have a question. Is there the best we can achieve as society? Is this what we expect in the 21st century? Because, my friend, pardon my bluntness, but you and I are to blame. We just learned in the forum that we are wrong. We are doing wrong. And so are we going to keep doing the same thing, and we are going to do same two stupid things, thinking about, expecting the world to be a better place? The solution is in our hands. That's it.
Thank you, Marcelo. I agree with you absolutely. The consumer format is a dead end. Basically, in this format, each person we tend to point fingers, who is responsible for what? And guys, just look into the mirror and you will see who is responsible. We all are responsible because we did not manage until today build a creative society. And the most people that I talk to, and they ask me a question, well, what do you think? Why creative society? Why do you think it's not a utopia? And what should we do? We already sort plastics, we sort paper, we sort that and that. Gina, would you be able to tell these people, what would you tell them? What should they do in order to help building the creative society? And why is it important?
I've told people that just being you, your gifts and talents, that's all that's needed. Just being kind, checking on your neighbors, being observant to what's going on around you. We all have to step up to the plate. It takes each and every one of us to just don't sit by and let something that's not right to continue to go. Because if you keep sitting around and not doing anything, then you're part of the problem. But to do something, no matter how small it is, it's something. And something's better than just letting what's happening now keep going. So that's what I'm urging people. We need to get back to the days when we were, checking on our neighbors. When I had a son in school, I was there at the school. When I became an international flight attendant and told him I would be out the country because he's special needs, they were happy to see me go because I was a part of the society, helping him to get through with it. So nonetheless, they did not teach him like they should have had I stayed around. But for myself, I needed to see the world. But once again, from my views, we have to unite. We got to stop allowing the media to shut us off into our own little cubicles of life and thinking it's always somebody else's job to do something. We have to step up to the plate. And like I said, it doesn't matter how small it is, it's something. And that's why I'm urging everyone that I know, just watch some of it. Take your time and have family and friends over and watch it. Have a discussion about it. Because this is the only planet we have. We don't have anything else to go to. Not like some people can fly off, but this is it for us. And if we don't unite and start talking to each other, let's just go back to, I'm doing my best to tell everybody to watch with family and friends and have a discussion, because this is so important. We really need to, stop listening to what the media is saying and start looking into ourselves and seeing, what can I do? And that's where I keep going forward into. Like I said, right now, I'm just pushing everybody. What did you think of it? Have you watched what was it Robert Kennedy said? Did you take a look and see what he said? Because I think most people can feel his feelings about what's going on. And we're trying to keep it as common sense as possible. And he broke it down like a 3-year-old could understand. And like I said, I keep telling people, just watch something. You can make some kind of a difference. In my neighborhood, I live in an area that people notice. So I do my part. I pick up the litter that's around. I sweep where, the part that I'm not responsible for. And people walk up and say, oh, I like that. Well, that's my little one contribution. And then I'm going to turn to them and ask them, have you heard about Creative Society? Thank you so much for the opportunity. But like I said, this is such a fabulous, I can't stress that enough. They show action, things that can be done. And we need to keep going forward. I keep giving this scenario of we need to send Mr. Smith to Washington. It's an old movie, but they took this regular guy and put him in office because his values and opinions were, you have to see the movie. But we need more of these type of people. Get everybody out of office. I'm sick of hearing Republican, Democrat, liberal. Look, we need to be on the same page and help each other. And if they're not going to do it, get them out of office. Let's get our people that are like-minded with us and get them into these offices. That's a small contribution I think we all can start doing is, look at these politicians that claim to be helping us and they're not. They're literally killing us. And they do not care. They're ruthless and heartless. So we need our own society. And like I was telling my neighbor the other day, your creativity is a contribution to creative society, whether you know it or not. And so that's, like I said, that's where I'm at. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak on this.
Thank you so much, Gina, for joining us. And thank you for sharing this amazing experience of yours, of sharing, of doing things. Okay, I think based on your experience, we can see that the people, really people, like normal people, that we should stop looking up to politicians, waiting for them to do something, and just start taking action ourselves. As you said, it starts from a little thing of talking to your neighbor, of going around neighborhood, of like just taking the cell phone, checking which phone numbers do I have in there, whom did I not yet call to notify about this forum, because it's a survival issue for all of us. Like, that's the thing. The life is not getting easier. Like, I'm talking to people and everyone feels something's wrong, but it's hard to put it out in words, what exactly, without seeing the whole picture. And it took hundreds and thousands of volunteers and so many months of hard work to put this information together. And yes, for everyone who's wondering, what can I do? I think your example already shows a lot, already shows amazing experience of sharing the information. And each one of our viewers can actually contribute to this greater good, not just for the whole humanity, but also to yourself, because by sharing information about the Creative Society, you actually build in your own prospering future. And this information, everything that you heard today, it was actually prepared by the volunteers for the a global forum called Global Crises. We are people, we want to live. And I think this information should be heard by everyone on this planet. So we all together could build a better future. And to those of our viewers who feel the importance of this information and want to start taking action, there are so many ways you can contribute. First of all, you can go on the website creativesociety.com, check the form, press join us button, and choose the option. How exactly would you like to participate? Do you just like the information, or would you like to join our live conversations like this one today, like international discussion, and just become part of this conversation? You can also send us an email at info@creativesociety.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook by Creative Society hashtag and profile name. Just becoming part of this international discussion, communication that we're having here today, sharing this information, sharing this very exact program that you're watching right now on your social media, repost it. It's the best way to start contributing, because it's really time for all of us to start speaking up. Stop being afraid and just start bravely taking action. Thank you.
Yes, we must not be silent. We must tell our friends and strangers about this, about the creative society. Building the creative society will only become realistic when we accomplish it first and foremost. And we must first go through the most and difficult stage, and that's informing everybody. We should reach every heart. We should reach every person and make them understand that it's really beneficial for all of them. It's beneficial for every person on our planet. Everyone benefits from being human. Everyone benefits from being a united civilization. So please share the forum, share these international discussions, and as Tylee said, send us your feedback through the social media or through the email, and we will get in touch with you, and you can participate and create in the discussions, and that's how we can spread the message. So let's make sure that we have a future. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Do you know that people stopped being silent? International discussions.
The truth is that when it comes to migrations and refugees, it is a business.
I saw the market where the children selling out openly.
4 days we were facing the sniper shot us and the bullets above our heads.
If we do not address such issues like human trafficking, tomorrow it could be you, tomorrow it could be me.
Politics is driving the science, not the science driving the politics.
Many people want us to stop to talk, but I say no, this reality can affect and can take your life anytime.
People are losing everything.
$270 trillion.
Where is the money? And where is the result?
This 12,068-year cycle is a clock cycle.
All these problems that we're facing right now, you cannot tackle alone.
Thank goodness we have the Creative Society
to choose human life over currency.
We're living in one big home, and if this big family fighting with each other, destroy walls of the home, tomorrow we will find ourselves in the streets without a roof, without the families.
From every corner, we can actually hear that it is not economically beneficial. But the question is, economically, it is not beneficial for whom? Isn't beneficial for us people to save our own lives?
We need to bring together all of the intellect, all to the science, all of the
people that can actually do something.
I think that the members of Creative Society are the new and real superheroes.
These people already understand that we should urgently act. Do you want to become part of changes? Take action. Don't be silent. You are invited to the new season of international discussions. Watch the forum, Global Crisis. We are people. We want to live. Changes begin from you.